Canada, carved in stunning landscapes as far as you can see. We are visiting Nova Scotia, Canada's east coast. Our journey begins in Halifax, a city where history and modern life collide along the waterfront. From here, we'll venture to the iconic Peggy's Cove, where the lighthouse stands steadfast against the Atlantic waves. Next, we'll wander through the charming streets of Mahone Bay and Lunenburg, with their colorful houses and rich maritime heritage. We'll make a stop in Truro, the gateway to Nova Scotia's rolling landscapes, before reaching Sydney, where the echoes of Celtic and Mi'kmaq culture fill the air. Then comes the breathtaking drive along the Cabot Trail, winding through forests, cliffs, and coastal vistas all the way to Inverness. Finally, we'll circle back to Halifax, carrying with us the stories, sights, and soul of Nova Scotia. Halifax, a city shaped by the sea and defined by its resilience. Founded in 1749 by British settlers, it was built as a stronghold on the Atlantic, a naval base meant to rival the French fortress of Louisbourg. Its deep natural harbor, one of the largest in the world, quickly became the heartbeat of Atlantic trade and defense. Through the centuries, Halifax has witnessed triumph and tragedy. In 1917, it was the site of one of the most powerful non-nuclear explosions in history, the Halifax explosion, when two ships collided in the harbor, devastating the city. But from the ashes, Halifax rebuilt stronger, becoming a symbol of endurance and community spirit. Today, the echoes of history still linger along the waterfront. In the old stone warehouses, the Citadel Hill Fortress, and the ships that glide through the harbor. Yet amid the past, Halifax feels alive and modern, a place where history, culture, and ocean air blend into something uniquely Canadian. Walking on Barrington Street, you really feel the rhythm of Halifax. It's a mix of old and new, heritage buildings, trendy cafes, little local shops, and that unmistakable East Coast charm. The streets got this easygoing energy, where history meets everyday life. You can grab a coffee and just take in the vibe of the city as it moves around you. We've reached Grand Parade, the heart of downtown Halifax. Right in front of me is the historic City Hall, built back in the 1890s, one of the oldest still in use in Canada. And just across the square, St. Paul's Church, the city's oldest building, standing since 1750. This spot really ties Halifax's past and present together in one beautiful view. Walking down Prince Street toward the waterfront, I stopped by Province House, the oldest legislative building in Canada still in use. It's been here since 1890 and is often called the birthplace of Canadian democracy. Hard to believe that such an elegant Georgian-style building has witnessed over 2 centuries of Nova Scotia's political history. Just a few steps away is the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia, the largest art museum in Atlantic Canada. Inside you'll find everything from classic maritime paintings to bold modern works by local artists. One of the highlights here is the collection of folk art. It's a place that really captures the creative spirit of this province, where the ocean, the people, and the stories all blend into art. Walking down George Street, the sound of the harbor slowly starts to take over. The faint hum of ferries, seagulls circling above, and the smell of salt in the air We're heading toward one of Halifax's most beloved places, the waterfront. This is the heart of the city, a place where history meets a modern, laid-back vibe. What used to be old shipping warehouses has been transformed into cafes, breweries, and art spaces. One of the most striking spots is the Queen's Mark District, a new addition that blends modern architecture with Nova Scotia's maritime roots. Just a few steps away is the Halifax Ferry Terminal, home to the oldest continuously running saltwater ferry service in North America. The very first ferries started crossing this harbor back in the 1750s, and locals still use it every day to travel between Halifax and Dartmouth. If you ever take it, you'll get some of the best skyline views in the city for just a few dollars. Heading south along the boardwalk, it's impossible not to feel the energy. Families with ice cream, live music, people lounging by the water. The boardwalk stretches over 4 kilometers, making it one of the longest continuous downtown boardwalks in the world. We pass by the tidal beacon, a tall kinetic sculpture that moves gently with the wind and light, symbolizing Halifax's connection to the tides and the ocean's rhythm. We reach Sail by Eduardo Tresoldi, a beautiful wire mesh sculpture that seems to disappear into the sky. It's both modern and timeless, a reminder that Halifax, like the sea itself, is constantly changing, yet somehow always the same. As I keep walking along the waterfront, there's still so much to take in. Halifax has a way of mixing old and new. You'll see historic ships docked right next to sleek, modern yachts. The boardwalk itself sits on the edge of one of the world's deepest natural harbors, which is why Halifax became such an important port centuries ago. As the sea breeze follows me along the Halifax waterfront, I arrive at the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic, a treasure chest of maritime history. Inside, echoes of shipwrecks, sailors, and the Titanic's legacy remind visitors of the deep bond this city shares with the ocean. Every artifact here tells a story of courage and connection to the sea. As the evening settled over Halifax, the streets glowed softly in the fading light. We walked up Sackville Street toward the Old Town Clock. From the Old Town Clock, we headed back down the hill, and instead of calling it a night, we decided to cross the bridge to Dartmouth. Once we reached the other side, we parked near the waterfront. The view from Dartmouth was amazing. The city looked peaceful, shining across the harbor with the soft sound of waves and the occasional ferry passing by. It was one of those moments when you don't really need to talk much. Just standing there, watching the lights dance on the water, feeling the cool evening breeze. It was the perfect way to end the first day. From here, Halifax looked completely different. During the day, it's full of movement and sound, but at night, from across the harbor, it felt calm and quiet. We stayed there for a while. No rush, no plans, just enjoying the view. Sometimes the best part of a trip isn't a specific place or attraction. It's moments like this, simple, peaceful, and unforgettable. It's a new day here in Halifax, and we're starting off by the seaport area. The weather's cool, a bit breezy, and you can smell the ocean as soon as you step outside. I'm walking along the piers, checking out the view of the harbor. There are a few boats docked, some people out for a morning walk. The waterfront here has a nice mix of old and new. Old warehouses that are now cafes, shops, and local art studios. It's a relaxed place to start the day, grab a coffee, and just take in the view. You really get a sense of how connected Halifax is to the water. It's right there in everyday life. Just in front of the Port of Halifax building, there's a bronze statue called the Emigrant. It shows a family arriving in a new country, looking ahead with hope and maybe a bit of uncertainty. Standing here, it really hits home. Millions of people started their Canadian journey right here at this port. Just steps away is the Canadian Museum of Immigration at Pier 21, one of the most meaningful places in Halifax. For many newcomers, this was the first stop after a long voyage across the Atlantic. As an emigrant myself, it's emotional to be here, imagining what it must have been like to arrive, full of dreams, not knowing what the future would bring. This place isn't just part of Canadian history. It's a reminder of how so many stories, including mine, began with a journey like this. Just a short walk from Pier 21 is the Pier 22 Pavilion. It's a fun stop along the waterfront, kind of a mix between a small market and an art fair. Inside, you'll find local artists selling handmade crafts, jewelry, and all kinds of unique souvenirs. The place has a relaxed vibe, and you can really feel that East Coast creativity here. It's a great spot to chat with the vendors, pick up something locally made, or just take a short break before continuing along the boardwalk. From the waterfront, we start making our way toward the Halifax Citadel. The walk takes us through some really charming city streets, small restaurants, colorful old buildings, and a few walls covered in local art. Halifax has that nice mix of historic and modern that makes it fun to just wander around. We pass by the Halifax Convention Center, cut through to Prince Street, and from there the old town clock comes into view. It's one of the city's most recognizable landmarks, sitting right below the Citadel. And it feels like the perfect spot to pause before heading up the hill. We finally reached the Halifax Citadel, one of the city's most important landmarks. It sits right in the center of town on top of the hill, overlooking the harbor. The first fort was actually built here back in 1749, the same year Halifax was founded. Its main purpose was to protect the city and the harbor from potential attacks, especially from the French and later during conflict with the United States. The current star-shaped fort you see today was completed in 1856, and it's the fourth one built on this site. What's really cool is how well it's been preserved. Walking around, you'll see costumed guards, old cannons, and daily demonstrations, like the noon gun that's still fired every single day, a tradition that's been going on since 1857. The view from up here is also one of the best in the city. You can see the harbor, the downtown area, and the ocean stretching out in the distance. The Halifax Citadel. It's a piece of living history that shows how this city grew and defended itself over centuries. It's definitely one of those places you shouldn't miss in Halifax. Our last stop for the day is the Halifax Public Gardens, and we've decided to get there through Victoria Park. It's a nice, peaceful walk. The streets are lined with big old trees and classic houses that really show off the charm of the city. The park leads right into the public gardens, which feels like stepping into a quiet green oasis in the middle of downtown. After a full day of exploring, it's the perfect place to slow down and just enjoy the calm. The main entrance to the Halifax Public Gardens is right at the corner of Spring Garden Road and South Park Street. You can't miss it. There's a beautiful wrought iron gate that welcomes you in. It's decorated with detailed patterns and the city's crest, and it really sets the tone before you even step inside. The gate dates back to the late 1800s and has become one of the most photographed spots in Halifax. Standing here, you can already see the colorful flowers and pathways just beyond the entrance. It feels like the start of a peaceful escape right in the heart of the city. Right in the middle of the gardens is the iconic bandstand. It's a classic Victorian-style structure with a white wooden roof and decorative columns. The kind of place where you can almost imagine a brass band playing on a sunny afternoon. Walking around it, you get a full view of the flower beds and pathways that radiate outward. And it really shows off the symmetrical, carefully planned design of the gardens. One of my favorite spots in the gardens is Griffin's Pond. The water is calm, surrounded by flowers and trees, making it a really peaceful corner to relax. What's fun is the little model of the Titanic floating in the pond, a neat nod to Halifax's connection to the ship's history. From the public gardens, we walk down Spring Garden Road toward the waterfront. It's a busy street, full of traffic, shops, cafes, and restaurants, the heart of downtown Halifax. You really feel the city's energy here, with people going about their day and the mix of modern and historic buildings all around. Along the way, we pass the impressive Halifax Central Library with its unique modern architecture. And right after that, Dalhousie University comes into view. The campus buildings add a bit of classic charm, and you can almost feel the buzz of student life as you walk by. We ended our day back at the Halifax waterfront. As the sun sets, the city lights start reflecting on the water, and you can see boats slowly passing by. There's something really calming about this view. A perfect way to wrap up a full day of exploring. Halifax has such a mix of history, charm, and energy, and you really feel it here by the water. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this tour, make sure to follow along for my next Nova Scotia adventures. There's plenty more to see, and I can't wait to show you.